Hi, I'm Toby Kerslake and I'm here today to show you to how to install Python. That's come out backwards because of the camera. Don't ask me why I used the Y, but I bought it. I wanted to use it. Clearly that was a mistake. Now, don't worry if you've never used like Python or programmed or any computer stuff before. You're exactly who this video is meant to be for. Yeah. Python's a programming language. It could be easily installed on something like a laptop like this, desktop, anything running with a full desktop x86 operating system. This tutorial is for Windows. If you want to install this on a Mac, go to the website, the tutorial there. If you want to install this on Linux, then you probably already know how, because you're using Linux. But yeah, this tutorial is for Windows. So you want to start by going to python.org and navigating to where it says downloads, and go down, find the latest version of Python 3. But make sure it's not Python 2. So the reason we're using Python 3 over Python 2 is just, although Python 2 still gets some regular-ish updates, it's sort of considered a legacy language at this point, because it's not having actual new features added to it, unlike Python 3. Some people, like forums and just annoying people, will tell you that Python 2 is way better than Python 3 in every way, and Python 3 is useless, and these people are wrong. Sort of the main argument for doing this is that Python 2 has more libraries supported, which libraries essentially just allow you to use blocks of code that other people have written. But most of those libraries are coming over to Python 3 now anyway, and honestly, Python 3 is just a much more useful, beneficial language to learn. And if you're learning Python 3 anyway, it's going to be easy to pick up Python 2 down the road if you did need it, but it's only really needed like science and math-based applications. So each version is pretty similar, like there are no major updates between them, so no matter which version of Python 3 you get, you should be able to follow along with this fine. Just make sure you grab the latest version. Basically, if a significant update comes out, I'll probably update this video anyway. So yeah, click on the latest release and then scroll down to a section that says files, and there you'll see a list of installers to download essentially. So you'll most likely want to get the Windows x86 64 executable installer. That is a mouthful, but yeah, unless you're using a 32-bit operating system, but it's 2018, so you're probably not. So yeah, try that if you're using Mac OS. Obviously you're going to want the 64-bit Mac OS installer. You should just run the installer, and then you should get this pop-up box comes up. So yeah, installing Python. So on the installer, you want to make sure you go down to the bottom and tick this box that says add Python to path. You can do this later, but it's not very easy if you're not familiar with path environment variable in Windows. So yeah, click that and hit install now. Feel free to do the custom installation, but if you do, make sure you don't uncheck any components like pip or idle, because it's essential to use later, and again, much more difficult to install manually outside of this. So yeah, hit install now, and when the installation is complete, hit close. If you provide the option to extend your path's max length at the end, this is unessential, but it may benefit you. I don't get the option because my path's max length is already increased. So, but yeah, again, not essential, but it might come in handy later. There's no harm in doing it. So yeah, congratulations, you now installed Python. And along with installing Python, you installed some really useful tools. Most important one is called idle. Now, idle is the default integrated development environment that Python comes with. Basically, it's just a glorified version of Notepad, except you type your code in here, and then you get special features like syntax highlighting, which essentially just highlights certain words that have a specific function. So like print, you'll get used to that, highlighted purple, and yeah, so on. You'll get used to it. It's hard to just explain now. As you get more into programming, there are definitely more complicated, complex IDEs out there that a lot of people prefer to use, and that's fine. But for a beginner, yeah, this is probably the best way to go, because there's not many features essentially, which means it's really simple and easy to use, especially when you're first learning how to program. So yeah, search for an open idle, and you'll be greeted with something called the shell. Now, The shell will be explained better in the next tutorial, but basically it's something called an interpreter. Basically that just means it takes all the code you write in Python and it translates into code that the computer can understand and then execute. So essentially it just runs your programs. Shell is something known as an interactive shell, which means we can basically, although we don't type our actual code directly in here, we can test out single lines of code or single functions by just typing them in. So for example, if you type in print, this is the shell, and hit enter, the shell should print, this is the shell, back to us like this. And yeah, so you can change anything within the quotation marks and it should just output that back to you. If you want to test that out, and also it works as a calculator, so if you just put 2 plus 2, you'll get 4 back. And yeah, that's basically everything for installing Python. It's now installed, it's running fine. So yeah, next tutorial we're going to go more in depth into the operation of idle and the shell and how Python works. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.